speed to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild.
Good afternoon. It's a minute to 2 p.m. here in the Netherlands. It's Wednesday, and I hope you're having a great day. Hello, Revenant. Wonderful to see you. And yeah, you hope everybody have been having a great week, and well, so do I. At least I hope you had a great night and a great week so far. I am still a little bit battling my cold, which has been an ongoing event since the last 2 weeks. In fact, my physiotherapist had a theory, which is that the cold that I am battling may be COVID. It could be. It's not impossible. According to him, I do have the signs of it. I did not test, so I'm a really naughty girl. I've just been going on with my life. That said, I have been getting my shots, my COVID shots or injections, because that's advised by my doctors. So maybe, I don't know. I'm down to just occasionally coughing, and well, my nose is having its own life. So I am still armored with my Kleenex, but my sound is better. So I guess there is some positive things. And Nightbot is also hanging out with us. So I'm totally wrapped up as always in my lovely poncho, scarf, and everything. Hello, Regge. Hello. So, the plan is for me to finish the LapsangTea Shawl today, and I have been cheating. Well, it's not really cheating, but I have been preparing a bit because I finished up the row I was working on, but I actually did another 1 or 2 rows to make sure that I would actually finish up the shawl today, because I was like, okay, I want to finish it today. So I have been doing a little. Right now I have 18 grams of yarn left. I am to a level where the yarn spindle no longer is in place because it just messes up the skein. So I am on a very loose skein. This is the amount of yarns we have left. This is 18 grams, and it's very like, yeah, loose. I also had a color change. I had that yesterday evening, about halfway through this row, which is another reason why I want to add 1 more row. And the challenge is, when I add this row, I'm unsure if I'll have enough yarn for the following row. The next row is very light because it's basically just double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch. So maybe it will work out. I do have my weight scale with me. I just don't feel like all these gaps would be a really nice place to stop the project. So this is where we are at. Ta-ta! It's big. It has gotten big. And I do have my weight scaler set, and yeah, I'm just walking off this loose skein. And that is basically the plan. So what I think I'll do is I have been considering, because in the row where I am now, as I said, it's just basically double crochet chain one, double crochet chain one. So it's a very loose row, like very little yarn consumption. But the following row is double crochets combined with popcorns. I just don't feel popcorns is something I want on the very last row. So what I've considered is where I have these reliefs. Let's see, this is this is the front side of the work. Just give me one moment to show it better. So I have these places where we have, so all of these raised bows is back posts to kind of make the edge, but we have these in between, which are front posts. Then on top here, I have a front post, and then there's a front post down here. So there's a few front posts like every 6 or so-ish stitches. Oh my goodness, no moment. Savior. And I was thinking I could make those when I go into these stitches, I could make those a front post as well. And then the following row, when I work in, I'll just have like them raised. I think that would work up nicely. So I'll have a row of these sort of lace, and then I'll have a full row of double crochets. I'm not sure if that would work up. That's my thinking. Revenant says, I've been having a great week, finished up some projects, and the charity event, which I was busy with last year, well, in your case, last time, managed to raise 1,552,105 USD and a cent. That is awesome. Well done. That is great. Thank you, Reggie. Yeah, it is stunning. So that is basically my thinking right now. I just need to count if I'll do it like that. Would that actually match every post? Or I can go back and see what happened, because if it has to be where there has to be double crochets in those stitches, and if it's not, then it makes no difference. There is there is. So I could do that, because basically I'm not sure if I have enough yarn to attend the row with the popcorns, so I need to do something else. And that would be basically like this row that's down here. Let's see if I can actually show that in a decent manner. Like, it would be like this piece. So the row that's just here with all this airy space would be the next, and then all these popcorns, but those popcorns doesn't seem the ideal solution. I could maybe optional, instead of doing like 3 double crochets together, that would be 1 stitch less. That might work out, and that would be somewhat close to it. It's not completely what they suggest for the edge, but that is not going to work for me, because I didn't get that far, to be honest. Let's see, the edging is 17, 18 if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 17 and 18. Yeah, I definitely won't have yarn enough even to attempt doing those 2 rows. It's way too many stitches, I think. It's gonna be yarn chicken on the last of those 2 rows, and I don't want to play yarn chicken. I want to have some sort of safe feeling. So I think we'll do those easy loose stitches, and then we'll make a definition once I've done that, if we think a row of double crochets combined with something might be the final solution. I think that is what's going to happen here. So what we're going to do, we are going to pop to the dual camera view, And we'll pop you guys down, 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 and we'll need to darken up the screen a bit because it is insanely. And to do that, we first need to go dark, like that. Ooh. Thank you, Revenant. He says this shawl is coming out gorgeous, and I have to agree. It's so far it's looking very nice, and I'm really looking forward to be able to block this. 2, 3, 4. The only question is I need to find time to block it. When am I gonna do that? Maybe best on a normal day, maybe. But I have the idea there's 10,000 things I want to do tomorrow, but maybe I don't know if tomorrow might work out. I'll have to double check my agenda. But in any case, we are gonna finish up this one today, except for the blocking bit. So that was the first stitch, and then that will be the second stitch. And now we are into this. Oh, I need to move my scissors. That I need to, and I think I am gonna do where they had the front posts. I will also do front posts there, or in this case it will be back post because I am working on the back side. And I'm gonna do that because I think that would kind of highlight it a bit. Or maybe I don't need to, but I have this feeling that that could actually work up nicely. So I will say the last 2 rows will be a little bit of what would you call it? Freehanding it to make a nice edge. That's basically where we are at now. Because, well, we have been so lucky to get so far, I guess, that we are almost done. And then I need to find something else to do. But I do have work lined up. Like I do have some projects we can work on once this is finished. And I've also found the yarns that I want to knit the cowl from. So let's see if I can do this correctly. So yeah, I got that. I found that yarn as well, so that's nice. So I have it here. Not necessarily saying that we are going to start on it. Hello, Susan. I hope you're having a great morning. Oh, and I have my tea with me as well. I have a Dutch tea blend today, which is basically called Dutch tea blend. The creativity from. Let's see, I need to have it in here. This. So I need to put in there. If I'll calculate this one correctly. So yeah, we are definitely on the creative road, because it's not completely according to pattern. Oh no. And I don't have it on the yarn spindle anymore either. But so far, I think we are working up nicely. Ronan says he's sipping on some Texan pecan coffee. I never thought about pecan coffee actually. But who doesn't like some pecan nuts? So it does sound like it could have potential, except for the coffee part. But that is because I really do not like the taste of coffee. A lot of people don't understand me. A lot of people, it's like, how can't you not? And I'm like, well, I had the flu when I was baby, basically, or not a baby, but as a child. And I was drinking coffee before I had the flu, and after I had the flu, I just don't get along with coffee. Even the smell makes me a bit nauseous. But as I say, even my partner agrees, there's so much more coffee for everyone else. So that is how I'm looking at it. You can have all my coffee. I don't need it. On the other hand, you can ship me your tea. So yeah, as I said, this row I am doing slightly different. I'm not sure if it makes sense though, but I am extending this single, this row of um, the front posts from the previous row. Now they're just back posts, and I'm not completely sure I'm doing that. But in the event that I guess it's this feeling that it makes sense somehow. I don't know. I do think it comes up with a really nice extra added feature, especially because the following row will be the last row and it might just end up being something simple. I'm I'm not 100% decided how I'll end up that top bit yet, but I'll work out something. I know that, and that could be an option actually. At some stage, there's like 3 double crochets in the center of that last. I could potentially work in 3 double crochets as a fan on those and skip the stitches around. That is an option I'm considering. So that could maybe actually work. Let's see. 1, 2. So I need to have this one. So that is something I'm considering. We'll see once we get all the way around. Because that's, of course, the challenge when you freehand. Is it gonna actually work out? I think it will. And yeah, I just have to pull out some yarn here now and then because my yarn spit started to tangle up on me. I think that is partially due to how this skein is wound up. It's pretty tight wound up, so I have probably, when putting it on the spindle, it tangled it a little bit in the center. So, and except that, it's just crocheting along. So what do I have of different projects? As I said, I do have, so crocheting, I only have one project left that I'm actively working on right now, and that is a fleur. I do still need to do lots of work on fleur if I do want to stand a chance of finishing it before New Year's. I'm still not sure if I'll actually make that happen. And then I have the hat that I started knitting on like last week. And I have the yarns for the cowl that I want to start working on for Christmas. But it could be that I'll just start it earlier. I'm not sure. Kind of depends on my mood, I guess. It's some hand-colored 100% merino, superwash merino wool. But that will be a knitting project. And it's a fair bit of knitting. So I am debating if if I'll start on it earlier. But it's not like a dire need either. I also need to start find yarns for new projects for the new year. And we need to start, I need to start consider how I'll get around the updating my whole stash to Ravelry. That is going to be a crazy task though. For sure. So I think my wife wants to start raising sheep. I asked her what she wants for Christmas, and she said, all I want for Christmas is Eve. Well, that could be, do you have the room to raise sheep? That would be the biggest question, right? Like, do you actually have the surrounding space to have sheep? Like, do you have an acre or something like that? Like, I'd love to have like a coop of chickens in my garden, but honestly, my garden isn't big enough to actually do it. Or, well, it could, but I think it'll be very disturbing to neighbors, and I'm not sure if I'd be willing. I could probably part with a garden piece for them, but it would be very small. Eve is pronounced U. Ah, yeah. Right. It is a U. I get that. All I want is you. um, that's true. It's just I read it as Eve, as in Eva, Adam and Eve. Um, oh my goodness. I guess I'm not completely fit yet. You are welcome to laugh. When you're ready to try knitting socks, I have a great beginner-friendly pattern for DK yarn. I made a pair, and so far I'm working on the second pair. Nice. So DK yarn is quite a bit of a thicker socks, does not? I guess it could be good to start with some thicker yarn for socks. I don't know. There is there's many things that I should encounter for the knitting, I guess. But yeah. As I said, I'm still busy on the hat with the scrap yarn, and I still have more of those scrap yarns that I'd kind of like to get used from my stash. So there's like multiple projects going. I do not want to try fathom the amount of yarn I have in my stash, which is why I need to get going on how I'll approach my Ravelry stash update. My goodness, that is gonna be a project on its own. Which I might actually now regret a little that I never updated constantly when I just got new yarn. That would have been so much easier. I'm currently working on getting some VIPs to finished up yaks, but I just started a throw for a friend. Yeah, that is a challenge, isn't it, Rikke? I am, though, working on getting this VIP finished today, so we will work from becoming a VIP to an FO. This UFO is hopefully turning into a foe. That is the hope, right? So far, I'd say we are progressing nicely. And also, as mentioned, this pattern or this row is reasonably low on yarn consumption. It's probably like half of many other rows. So I do definitely have enough yarn to finish one more row after this. The only question is, of course, depending on the stitch I use. And I don't feel popcorns are really nice for edging, so I will likely option for an alternative way of doing that. Like I say, so I can count the throw to destashing since I'm using yarns up from my stash. Great job. Destashing is good. Susan, it's actually just more to have a better overview on hand of my yarns. That's the idea, like to have a better overview, to know how much yarn I actually have. I guess I can also just, you know, I don't know. The idea is basically that I'll have a much better overview of the yarns I have, and yeah, it's gonna be more visible to me right now. It's just like I have a schedule listing how much yarn I added based on skeins and weight and length, um, and then how much I've used. But it doesn't really actually say how much I have. It's more like, did I use up more than I bought kind of concept, if that makes sense. Like it says, popcorn edge give me the eek. Yeah, that's why I don't want to finish on popcorns, because I'm the same. I'm like, I don't feel popcorns is the right finish. Like, I'm fine with it being that there are popcorn stitches in the pattern, but not on the edge. It seems odd. Which basically the next row after this will be the popcorn row, but I refuse to add popcorn, so I will probably be creative and do something else. It's my suspicion right now, knowing myself. But I will have to weigh the yarn, see how much we'll have left once we are done. So I started with 18 grams, and a row right now is roughly 8 grams to 9 grams. So I'll estimate this row might cost me, let's say, 6 grams. I'll have 12 left, which definitely isn't enough for 2 rows, but it's enough to finish one if I don't do crazy in popcorns or something like that, which I'm not going to do because I don't want popcorns on the edges. It just seems wrong. Rowan says I currently have one whip. I decided to make a granny square blanket. I am making a bunch of 20-inch, so about 50 centimeter squares with 3 different variegated yarns. Nice. Well, one can always use an extra blanket. I will be taking inventory of my stash during December and January since I will be moving in the new year. Ah, so that's a great opportunity to do so. So basically, I'll need to go through my whole stash and figure it out. That is my opportunity to do it. If that makes sense, I'll just need to go through it. And I want to, because I actually just want to get this overview. How is it? 2, 3. That would be this one. Thank you so much. And I see Jay just got a gifted membership by Revenant. But of course, we are talking about members. So let's celebrate our members. Thank you. Not needed, most appreciated. So yeah, I just want to have an overview of my stash basically, because I have this idea of what I have, but I actually don't really know. And if I can like have it all updated and on a list and stuff like that, that would be quite nice actually, if that makes sense. Right now it's just I have a box where I have all those yarns, and I have a box where I have all those yarns, and I'll need to open the box to figure out what I exactly have. My goodness. So maybe that shall be my let's actually stash my Ravelry. And then I need some sort of project actually as well while I'm doing that. One, two, three. But I don't know. It's just I should have stashed it actually back when I went through it. That would have been so much better. But I guess I don't use Ravelry enough, and in that sense, I wonder if it's even worth my time. Like, will I actually keep it updated, or is it just gonna be like I believe I have? That I think is my main concern. Like, does it make sense to actually do all this effort? I first know when I've done it. Right now, I'm reevaluating my fitness membership, to be honest, because for the past 3 weeks I've barely used it, and the reason is basically I've been sick or I've not been home, and then it just feels like a fortune to pay, and yeah, the fitness is not exactly the cause alone for my health. So that is like on the evaluation board right now too. Um, undecided. AI has told me that Ravelry does suggest pass-ons based on your yarn inventory. I can imagine. I can imagine, and I'll be absolutely open to receive pattern suggestions as well. And I have a bunch of I do have like I don't know how many favorites on my Ravelry, and meanwhile, I saw that one of the patterns that I once wanted to make is actually finally uploaded to Ravelry, but it took like the designer more than 2 years from when she said she wanted to do it to until she did it. Like first I first found it and it was like, yeah, we'll be uploaded in 2 months. And no, I have like 147 favorites, by the way. For any clarity, if you're in doubt, that is a lot. Anyhow, it's published in December 2024, so it's actually been here for a while, but it's some of the first things that actually bookmarked in Ravelry, so I'll probably have to bookmark for like 2 years. It is a paid pattern, but I like how it looks, and I think it will work up nice with my kind of feather yarn. So that is probably what I'll end up doing. It is the Waffle Chick Shrug. It's made in Lion brand Kobu, which obviously I don't have, but let me just show it to you guys if you're curious. This is one of these I'd love to make sometime. It's a bit more than $5, but this one, basically. I'd like to make this rug. I think it looks gorgeous. So it's like a short-armed bolero and in the waffle stitch. I want to make this, but in a red color with my kind feather from Hobby. That is my plan. But I will have to probably first buy the pattern and check if it's still realistic based on the yardage I have, because I think I only have 4 skeins and that's about 1,000 meters. Should be able to, theoretically. It's going to be a close call. But that is one of the plans I have for one of the projects in my stash. And I actually even bought the yarns based on this back in the day. You know, then it didn't come and it didn't come. And I started thinking about using that yarn for another thing, but I never got around doing it. And now it's actually there. So that might very well be a project for the new year. Ta-ta. I think that might end up being a project. 1, 2. I took a quick picture of the 2 of the squares I finished. Need to get one of the 3rd colorway done, but here are 2 of them. We'll pop over for those curious. It is loading. Ooh, lovely colorways. They're Red Hot Super Savers in Mexicana and McCall. And the 3rd one is the Wildflower colorway. Well, we'll get to see that maybe. Maybe not now, but maybe later. Depends on how quick you work them up, I guess. I may be cutting the stream a little bit on the short end today because normally on Thursdays when I go to my mom-in-law for dinner, but it's gonna be today because tomorrow she is receiving her new bed, and we need to move her current bed into her guest room, which basically means it's easier if we go there today, because optionally we would just have had to go there in the evening after dinner. Then it made more sense just to move the whole thing, because she was also a bit like, yeah, and depending on how late the bed comes, I don't know how that's gonna work out Thursday. And I'm like, maybe it's just easier we move the day. So that's what we have done. Ta-ta. Okay. How was this bit? Do. That was all just, so that should be easy all the way to the tip. 1, 2. As soon as Nas is asking Rep what he's doing with the 20-inch squares, and he is saying that he's making a queen-sized blanket. So I am suspecting I may end up actually electing for doing that. Shrug is a great idea of mine. I need a few projects lined up, and I still need to decide if my first hat collectors, which yarns I'm gonna use for it. Undecided. I could also, it would probably work up fine in the muffin. But regardless if I use one or the other, I will need to do some yarn cutting and color controlling. But buying that shrug pattern, that could be the Christmas present for myself. I can make 1 to 2 of these a day, depending on how much I feel like crocheting. So I think I only need 25 squares for the blanket I want. How many squares do you get from a skein of yarn then? Just of curiosity's sake. Once I finish my 5th square, I currently have 4 done, 3 Maco and 1 Mexicana. I will pin them together with stitch markers and check. Good plan. Da, da, da. So yeah, we are most definitely finishing on this today. The only real question is the next row, how I am gonna work up that one. Oh my goodness, I need to take care that I don't have yarn all over the floor. One, two, three. So we are actually getting to the stage where I have the color change. Right here is the color change at this spot. Which is also why I, in any case, wanted an extra row just to have one full row of that color. But as I said, I think, well, I know we are likely going to add one more row after this. And then, my friends, it's finished. Which has been like a 2 month project to make a shawl together. But we have had our detours, we have looked at yarns, and we have been tempted. And I am still tempted to shop yarns. I've seen all the offers, and they're like calling my name, being like, Stina, we are here. You know you want us. And I'm like, no, no, no. I actually also wanted to get some knitting needles. And I looked at the prices and I couldn't even make myself put them on my wish list because the price has gotten more expensive. The prices for the sets of interchangeable knitting needles increased by a whooping $30. And now they claim it's a discounted price, which I'm like, no way. So I think I'm just gonna get myself some knitting needles sometimes later when the prices are back to normal. Because my goodness, it's not like production costs increased by 30% overnight. It's called, look, we have a Black Friday offer for you, which is not really an offer at all, which actually is a quite prohibited way of doing marketing. In the EU, at least, I don't know about the US, but in the EU, you're not allowed to advertise it as a Black Friday offer unless it's actually a real offer. Just saying. Fake sales are the worst, exactly. So thank God I know the prices, but I am absolutely refusing to pay 30 euros slash USD more for a set. I'm like, I'll wait. It's not a desire urgent need right now. It's more like nice to have. Now it's like whatever. I am not gonna buy you for that price. I refuse. I bluntly refuse. But that's the thing, right? Knowing what's on sale and what's not. I saw the cake wools, the new cake woolen cake yarns on Hobby is on sale as well, but it's only like 30 or something percent off. So I'm like, yeah, would it be nice? Yeah, would I want them? Yeah. But I didn't buy them because no, 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 no. I shouldn't get them. Let's see if I can actually find it. If they're on this list. Even the Sultan Cotton Kings is 50% off right now. So I do have a. Oh, Sultan Deluxe is 60% off. Crickets. This is not good. Oh, this is not good. But that's there we can totally revert to the fact I have many of them. I don't need to buy them. Ha ha. But let's see, it should be in here, but it's not. Let's pop over to Cake Yarns. It's really slow today. I do believe it's all the way in the bottom almost. Yeah. Here we go. Look, it's on sale. 40% discount, which is not bad. But I don't need it. I'd like it, but I don't need it. Like, not right now. I'd really like this Iris Wonder, but also the Summer Pasture or this Spring. I really love the green one. We talked about that before. They have so many nice colors here in these wool cakes. I'm like, yes, please. But I don't need it. I don't need it. And the Sultan Deluxe, as I said, they're 60% off. This is a good deal for Sultan Deluxe. It's almost the same price as the price I could pay straight out for Janat's Rose Garden. That's around the same. So this is actually a good deal. But I have plenty of them in my stash. I have like the Imperial Purple. I know that for sure, at least. I do believe I have the Blue Moon Diamond. I do have the Argyle Pink, that I know. I have the Cora Sundrop, which is not as yellow as it looks here. It's a bit more like mustardy all the way through. I do have the Oppenheimer Blue. I have the Cordura Reds. I have the Koi Diamond. And I probably have a bit more as well from this list. But I could definitely, and I think I might, I'm not sure if I have this one or if it's in a Twister colorway, which is also quite nice. But the thing is, I can sit here and say I want, but really, bottom line is I don't need them. It's a good price though. So that's the only thing I can say. For the Sultan Deluxe, this is a really good price right now. But I haven't bought anything. I'm just tempted. And that is the thing this time of the year for the Black Friday. Have you done any shopping yet? Not necessarily yarns. Did you start prepping for Christmas presents? I need to actually order some for one. For my partner. Shop your stash. Stop looking at sales. Yeah, I know, but I haven't bought. I'm just saying it is a good price, which is it. It is a good price for the Cotton Kings. It is a very good price, but I really should not get it because I have a pretty large stash with them. I feel I could use them, but that's the thing. There will always be new yarns coming out. I know, and that's the problem when you're a person like me. You're like, I want. I'd like to have one of each. It's a collector's gene. But this is why I think it would be really nice if it would actually work what I've planned for some of my yarns. Like I was really happy to see the shrug pattern had actually been released. I just need to get around buying it. And then that is probably what I'll do for some of the yarns. So I need to start plan a bit ahead for some of the projects because yeah, I still think it's a really good idea to get my stash listed on Ravelry. Both because if you say it really starts suggesting you patterns, that would be awesome. But also, I like, you know, the idea is it helps me actually visually easier seeing the fact that I have enough yarn to use for the rest of my life. Like I don't necessarily need to put it on Ravelry, but I just want to have a more clear view of what I have. And then I think Ravelry does sort of make sense if I just keep it updated, that is, afterwards. So in that case, I am going to be really busy getting that sorted. Do. Rick is back. Her son just got home. Welcome home to him. Oh, and don't forget to hydrate. And here is it, my lack of yarn skein left. Ravenna says, I've picked up some yarn on sale, but only for projects. I got some Karen £1 to make a cat blanket for next year's desert bus. Going to enter their craft along to donate it as a giveaway. That's a kind idea. And some Mexicana and wildflower for this blanket. Yeah, ideally, I will try to buy as little yarn as possible next year as well, but it is probably gonna at some stage happen. Um, da, da. Could be an optional videos for Mondays, for those Mondays when I'm not streaming. Is thought 1, 2, but then it's gonna be taking like the whole year to get my stash stashed. Well, to get the actual numbers, I guess. I suspect I will probably record them faster than I'll then upload them if that's going to be the case, but we'll see. And that's going to be a bless you. Thank you. Mm. Oh, it's okay, Rick. It's okay. I hope you had a great day. Yeah, pause it times 2, exactly. That was me sneezing. The first I anticipated, and the second was like, I hope it's not happening, but yet, often when I sneeze, it tends to be twice. I don't know why. And then the next question will then be, how much yarn will I have left once I'm completely done? But I'll wind it up in a ball to put in my scrap pile. More importantly is that this is a nice skein to finish from my stash. It really makes a dent. Hell yeah. So I'll give you the update on Tuesday for November. Because Monday we are live, and then I won't have time to reach to also edit and upload a video. So we'll do that Tuesday. Oh no, just one moment please. My nose is running. Oh, I may need to go into the Kleenex, and I'm not gonna have you guys listening to that. So I'll be right back in less than a minute.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts.
So I am back. Whew. That nose is tingling. But we're almost done with this row. Hallelujah. Then we can have a look at weighing up the rest of this yarn and figure out what we will end up with. Da, da, da. Da, 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 da. Think about it. It's December on Monday. Isn't that crazy? Like, genuinely? I think that's nuts. Like, I'm. Whew. I believe it's also like the first Sunday of Advent, upcoming Sunday, which is like the last 4 Sundays before Christmas. It's 4 weeks for Christmas then, give or take. My goodness, how time flies. that means it's also like 15 years ago that I set a new final record, like a Danish record, in shooting, because there used to be a competition that's not existing anymore either. That was always a great weekend being there. It was usually that first weekend, just around the first weekend of December, last weekend of November, first weekend of December, depending on when they could get the sport hall. That used to be a really great competition. I have some really good memories from back then. Meanwhile, I did visit some friends this weekend. And he looked at my position because I've not been performing very well. And there's lots of logics to what's said. And, you know, I've not noticed the changes myself because I had a long period where I was out. And physically, my body changed, which is not on logic. So there are many things. But I didn't change much. So normally we say you need to adapt your equipment to you rather than adapting you to the equipment. And I've basically been doing the latter, which is not necessarily a good thing. And why can I sometimes still do well, reasonably well for compared to many, is because I know how to do it, but I make it more difficult for myself doing it like that instead of adapting the equipment to me. Um, so that is a future project of mine. So it was a quite highlighting weekend. Also, we went out for dinner. We had a great schnitzel. Um, one, two, three is this one. I'm almost done with this row, which means it's time for the weigh scale. Woohoo. And how was it I did it here? I just not need to make sure I will do the exact same thing. That would be this one then. Worst case is we'll forget the few stitches back to fix it. But I'd rather not if it's not needed. That is wrong. Should have been one more. Yep. Boom. I knew it. Yep. So easy to get extra stitches in this. Due to chains from the previous row. Challenge is not to get them. now it's matching up. How it should be. And then we'll need to get in here. Ta-ta! That was this row. Oh my goodness. It only took like an hour. Plus shopping in between. We are gonna grab my weight scale, which is almost too far for me. And then we will see what it says. I would guess 12. 13. Wow. Still, regardless, 13 by any means is not gonna be enough for 2 rows. Unless I make 2 more rows of these, which makes like 0 sense. So we are heading into our last row. I just need to define how I want to make this row. And I don't want to make it with popcorns. It seems wrong. No popcorns. And since I already changed the bit, I am actually considering, as we talked about, so I did. Hello, Lisa. Good morning to you. So Lisa, I am heading into my last row of this shawl, but I cannot. So this is kind of like row. I just finished row 14, which is not a finishing row, and row 15 is like popcorns every like 6 or 7 every 7 stitches. So I'm not gonna do that. That just feels not right. Remnants just picots. I'm not too keen on picots. What I was thinking of, because the row 14 I also did with back posts to grab the previous row front post stitches, which is a deviation already from the pattern. But I think it ended up looking really nice actually. Like how those front posts are kind of extended a bit. So we have 2 options here. I could do regular double crochets all the way, and then just on those front posts, well, they will be front posts because I'm going to turn the work. Now they were back posts, but I could make front posts around them. I could do picots on top, though I'm not the biggest picot fan, but I could. What I also could consider, and that is something I think I am considering, is I'll make double crochets. But here where we have those 2 gaps, I will skip a gap, and then I'll work in 3 double crochets as a sort of mini fan in those. And then I'll skip the stitch and I'll just work regular double crochets in the following 6 stitches, skip a stitch and work in those 3. So when skipping those space and working in 3 in the 1 stitch, that should still end up nicely, I think. So that is my idea right now, like make some sort of semi fans every like 6 rows. That's an option I've considered, because obviously I could make those popcorns. It just looks so weird with popcorns on the edge, which is just not going to happen. So I need something alternative. I could also option to indeed make double crochets and then do a double crochet 3 together. But then I think 3 double crochets fanning out is nicer. The mini fans is similar to what I did too. Okay, so I'm not the only one thinking that direction. And these also don't like popcorns on the edge. It was exactly what Reke said, and what I say, I'm like, it just feels wrong. I don't know why, but it just feels not right. I'm okay with them in the pattern, like in the middle and so on, it's fine, but on the edge, it seems odd. Like it should be a few stitches, a few rows away from the edge in that event. In any case, we are definitely going to have some double crochets to kind of make a nice edging. So that is what I will be doing. So the real question is what I will option to do for those fans. I really like the idea of mini fans, to be honest. The alternative is that I'll just do front posts on top of them and I'll just do it regular all the way, like as if nothing else changed. That is also an option. Popcorns need a stabilizing stitch on top. Well said. So another good reason for not wanting to make them, which is say it feels wrong to do it. So that's why I can't do it, right? Like it just doesn't feel right. But I need to figure out what I'll make as an alternative, if that makes sense. So now I'm technically one stitch away from a previous row back post. So I'll just have regular double crochets here. The real question then is if it makes sense to make like skip a stitch and work in 3 double crochets here. I could try to see how that looks. That's like a mini fan. The alternate is work in 3 double crochets together. But let's just try to do another 6 stitches around as to where I would then have to do the next, and we'll see how that looks. Like technically, will that work nice enough? It's not like a very clear fan, to be honest. So I don't know if it makes sense to do it like this. We'll probably need 2 more stitches to be like a real fan. Then I'm thinking I'll frog it because I feel it looks like if I just did regular double crochets. So with a very, very little change. Now I'm doing a front post instead and just do the regular stitches as I did before and see if I like that result better, which I'm probably ending up liking better. And if that's the case, that's just how we're going to continue then. Which is going to be something like, let's see, I just need to have the yarn far enough up. So that's going to be something like this instead, which seems a little bit more edgewise. How many rows to go, Stina? This is the last row. This is the last row. Lisa says, I like a clean edge to end things off, but that's my personal preference. So this is probably also a bit closer to the clean edge, where I'm like, okay, I'll just do one last front post in those to kind of get them to run out, which I think is nice, actually. So I think that's probably what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do 8 double crochets front post, 8 double crochets front post. Or if I'm going to do like more scalloped edge, then I would have needed to make the previous row much more double crochet alike, where now I have the spaces as to following the pattern. This is probably the one that comes closest, except it's not a popcorn, it's just a front post I did around, where I could do the 3 double crochets together, which still gives a little bit of a feeling, but I'm not sure if I think that's clean enough. Let's just look at how that looks. But I'm suspecting that I will end with the front post option. I could also just do regular double crochets all the way across the border. I think I have yarn enough to do it with the popcorns, but I don't want to do popcorns all the way across. But this is the alternative. I just need a few more stitches to kind of rub it on. So that would be the alternative, basically. And I think that sort of disappears in the rest. And then I'm back to, I think, the edge with either non-front posts or the single front post would make this one nicer. And then I'll go for the single front post just to have a little thing. Could do picots. I just don't always find picots keep looking nice. Which sounds wrong. Of course, the option could be to make a chain in between those, but I don't. I think this is, I'll go along with this. Double crochets and front posts on previous rows, back posts. I think that is going to be my edge. That is the nicest I can do. A scalloped edge is really nice. The problem is I don't know how many stitches I have. So I could make an estimate on how I could make a scalloped edge. And it is already sort of sort of a little bit wavy based on the previous row. So we'll like it. I'll make it a bit straight like this. Yep, that is that's the end result. Which is still, I think, better than popcorns. And it does keep it a little bit unique. It is yet different, yet not too far off. So that would be kind of what we're getting at because of the front posts. I think that is nice actually. And it means that when I need to stretch this out, I can put my pins into those front posts. Hallelujah for the blocking process. For the scalloped edge, I think it's nicer if you have a row of like straight doubles, personally. The previous row, and here is just too much spaces. So I think adding just this double crochet row on top stabilizes a bit. And instead of making popcorn stitches, I'll just do a front post which should cost me 8 to 9 grams of yarn, and leave me with like, what, 5 grams or so. Those 5 grams I'll add to my scrap pile. It's the yarns that I know I have, which I don't count as a part of my stash, because all sort of various random things can come from it. Lisa says if I have enough left, I could do another row of single crochet just to use it up. I could. That would definitely also be an option. We'll have to see how much I have left when I'm done here. And it also depends on how much it's kind of tangled up in the center, because it is a little bit tangled in the center of this cake from the yarn spindle. I can feel that. I didn't spit it enough. Like, I didn't place the spindle well enough in it. So it is a little bit tangled in the center. So it kind of also depends on how much it's tangled, because I really do not want to untangle while I'm crocheting if I don't need to. But that could be really nice to have like a single crochet stitch around. That could be a nice option. So given the fact that it was 13 grams, if I used like 8 grams, I have like 5 grams left. It could work with a row of single crochets, and else it won't. And it's still gonna be very close to yarn chicken, I think. And the thing is, I really don't want to miss by a couple of meters. That would be really not fun. There is enough stitches for me not wanting to frog anything. So I will need to feel absolutely certain that I would be able to make all the way around. I'm not taking chances. Lisa says she would play the game. I'm not sure if I want to. Let's see what the time is and how much yarn I have left once I'm done with this row. It's plausible there's enough yarn, because I am not doing the popcorns. What you could do is wait and do one side and then wait again. That could be an option. That could also be an option. I would literally cry my eyes out if I'm like 10 stitches short of being able to make it across. Oh my goodness. That was just not be fun at all. Crying out loud. Anyhow, December is gonna be a busy month. I may be a bit less around than you're used to, mainly because I am a really busy girl in December. I'm gonna be a week in Luxembourg. We're also heading to Denmark for Christmas this year. My partner may have some extra days of work to do stuff. And usually when he's home, I don't stream because it's just not practical. There will be too much background noises. Gives me opportunity to work on Fleur, which I'm not 100% sure that I'll reach to finish on the side of New Year's, I'll be honest. I'm still working on French Navy. Not worked on it as much this weekend as I had wanted to. The coming weekend I might have a bit of time to do it. Two, four, six, seven. Yeah, there's 7 stitches in between every front post. 7 double crochets, front post, etc. all the way around. And here the yarn came because I need to technically pull some yarn. Now it's just spinning around, but it's not ideal because it does disturb tension a bit, so I'll get back out pulling it a bit. It is, though, another easy row, not too much thinking. And we are almost done. And then I just need to block it. Which I hopefully should have been able to do also before the next yarn talk video. You had wanted to see that all-in-one blanket I was making when it was finished. Yes, I did. I just want to finish 2 stitches. Then we'll pop over and have a look at it. We need this window. Here we go. Ooh, that turned out nicely with the colors. I'll have to say that. I have found every time I make a blanket at the beginning, I'm very motivated, and towards the end, it's getting increasingly more difficult to motivate myself because it's so big to work on. It's kind of what I have with Fleur, except I'm trying to be motivated enough to actually finish Fleur, so that is my main project when I'm not working on everything else. Colorway White Amethyst. It is gorgeous. I like how the colors come together, even though it's not necessarily where they normally would be in the color change. Susan asks Revenant what he's doing with all his finished blankets. Well, that is a good question. It's a gift related in his stitch group. Okay. Well, you guys are my stitch group. Believe it or not, but you are. And the one you're currently working on is for the house. Okay. Lisa says, I haven't got much stitching done. We got a new seating in our living room yesterday, but I took the opportunity to wash down the whole room. I don't work very fast and it took me a couple of days. And Lisa says, this is my stitch group as well. Yeah, that's, that's the thing when you, in my case, I don't know if there might be a local stitch group, but will they have time when I have time? Maybe it's different. Like once I retire and don't need to work, it could be different. Or if I get unemployed, who knows? That could be an option. But until then, I'm absolutely happy with this stitch group. And even if that changes, I still think I'm going to be happy with this stitch group. I love you guys. You have lots of great suggestions for me as well. So la la la. I know there's also a local stitch group not too far from my mom, and I think she might want to rejoin that when she feels more fit, because right now she's still obviously in recovery of all the chemo. Um, she is doing better, um, but it's still gonna be a long road ahead of recovery. Um, and we still don't know if she is officially cancer free. We should know that in a few weeks. Revenant says this my stitch group meets once a month, first Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. in the local library. And Susan goes to 2 different library stitching groups. One group collects finished items for charity donations. Yeah, my mom used to be a part of one of those as well. Still think she sort of semi is. That they do charity for homeless people, amongst things. So they mainly do like woolen socks and hats and stuff like that. Um, um, but obviously she hasn't had much energy for that. And they used to run that on a bunch of like when people pass away, the yarn gets donated sometimes, especially if they themselves didn't have children that might craft or whatnot. Lots of things. Let's see here. It's usually 6 to 10 people, occasionally up to 15. So it's decently attended without feeling too much. I dislike large crowds. I think I feel stressed too when it gets too large. It kind of depends. Some of it can be really, really nice. It everything really depends. I've competed in Germany at the Bundesliga, and there is like can be really big crowds and cheering and stuff like that, which is really awesome from a competitive point of view. Um, but sitting in the crowd, not having room about me, that does give me a little bit this feeling of claustrophobia. So it kind of depends very much on the situation. Uh, I absolutely dislike large crowds, like when I'm traveling to the airport in Denmark and it's rush hour, Copenhagen, on the central station. Oh my goodness. Like that, you get crammed into trains as well and stuff like that. Oh no, I don't like that. And Lisa doesn't have a local stitch group. I don't know if there is one here, to be honest. Um, and if there is, I don't know if the times would even work for me. And it would have to be in Dutch, which would be really weird for me because I don't speak any crafting Dutch. I speak Danish or English. So that would be really odd. I'd be willing to attempt though. Um, do, 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 do. I was a bit worried when I first went last April. It was going to be full of mega extremists, but turned out to be my superpower is finding the left wing of group in Texas. This is the third one. Oh goodness. Sometimes, you can be very positive surprised, right? So that's always great. I used to have a little shooting group Tuesday morning. Yeah, that's a point, Lisa. Lisa says, large crowds doesn't bother me as long as it's not crowded. I really dislike getting jostled around. Yeah, like, goodness, I have no idea how you would say this, but like being collected as fish in a barrel, so to say, um, would be a Danish saying, very Danish saying, by the way, which would be basically that you're crammed into a very small place with lots of people, and it's very not pleasant. Um, like rush hour on the train in a big city. Or probably more like a subway in you guys' case, but still. Last couple of times when I've traveled there in the weekend, the trains didn't even drive, so I had to take the subway to the nearest buy station to get the train onwards. So definitely I don't like the crowded feeling. But I don't think many does. Um, I can't imagine people. Hmm. Revenant says, went to PAX South back in 2017. I had a panic attack in the convention hall because of how crowded it was, and I had to get out of the building. If you have never had one, I don't recommend. I don't recommend either. I've never had one, but I don't feel like getting one either. I've known people who's unfortunately experienced them, and no, it's definitely not on your bucket list. My husband and I have a method for crowds though. Since I'm small, I go first and find the cracks in the crowd. And he's very large, so we hold hands and he comes behind me like a bulldozer. That's I have a great image in my head right now. I can imagine that working well, actually. Let's see. Need to have 2 more. We're like halfway of this. And we will see how far we are. Ideally, I need 6 grams. 5, I may attempt it. 4, I don't think we have enough for a single crochet chain around or single crochet around. So we will have to see when we get there. But first, we are just gonna finish this. And I'm actually kind of fine if this is the last row. And of course, it kind of confirmed me it was okay for me to, as I said, I did 2 rows off camera this weekend and yesterday. And it was needed to be able to put off a finish today. And I'm quite happy I did still. So then we can talk about my fancy yarn laying over here, which I'm going to use for the cowl. Indeed, the finish stretch is getting in sight. It is very likely the last half side, but we will weigh the yarn just in case. Anything less than 5 grams, I do not think is worth attempting a row of single crochets around. Even 5 is gonna be on the edge, I think, because the partially double, partially chains was 5 grams. So I kind of need 6 to be sure. And I don't think I'll have 6. 5 is gonna be yarn chicken. 4 is definitely gonna be too little. And 4 could be possible. Oh, no, that was a front post, not a regular. I am, though, really curious on how big this is gonna turn out once I'm putting on the blocks. Revenant says if you had 5, you could do single crochet chain 1, single crochet chain 1. That's an option. That is an option. Ooh, Amanda! Hey, girl. It was good to see you live the other day. And I am doing well. I am still struggling with my cold, which, by the way, for those that joined a bit later, my physiotherapist has a theory that my cold isn't a cold but COVID. In that event, I've had COVID for the past 2 weeks. And I've been a naughty girl because I have not changed anything to my life. I've just been cracking on with it because I haven't really had time to be sick. So if that's the case, then I've been naughty and I've probably made half the population around me sick, but I don't know. Except for that, I'm feeling good. I am down to it just being an occasional cough and a runny nose, so that's nice. That is what I consider an improvement. Is it Kids Week or is it I'm on my own week? I think you're on your own because you were streaming Monday, which you normally wouldn't do if you had your kids. Anyhow, if everything goes right, I am on my last or second last row. The chance it's my last is large, but we will weigh the yarn once I get to the end. In any case, the row before this one and this row is slightly deviated from the pattern. Not much, but just small deviations. Like, I don't think I want to do popcorns on the last row. Like, come on. No, no, no. 2, 4, 6, 7. Amanda says it's just me, myself, and I home alone until Friday afternoon, so I should be able to find time for Allow today or tomorrow if I'm in the mood. It's all about being in the mood, and girl, you're here regardless. How is the poncho coming along? Or you're working on something else today? I've been so tempted shopping yarn, but I haven't. But I've been really tempted. I'm proud that I didn't, by the way. Really proud that I didn't, but I've been really tempted. I've been helping with sick mini me and not been home. Oh no. I'm sorry to hear she's been unwell. I visited Rita on the advent calendar is here now. Oh, sweet. But yeah, honestly, it's Monday. On Monday, it's 1st of December. Like, in the beginning of the year, I had a great plan for Christmas months, and guess how far I got with those plans? They changed too first. Maybe if I hadn't gotten the job I have, I might have actually done something about it. On the last couple of weeks, obviously, I've been sick, so not really been in the state of doing extra recording or anything like that. So I am just accepting it is what it is. Revenant says I can never hear In the Mood without thinking of the gunny Halleck quote from Dune. Mood is a thing for love, play, and cattle. Ah, yeah, maybe. Guess what? So all summer, I started probably in June, I think. I'm unsure if I started in May already, but definitely June. I started rewatching, almost binging, Bones. Um, 13 seasons, some seasons with a lot more episodes than others. But guess what? I have one episode left, which I'll estimate that I'm very likely to finish tonight. And I've watched it from beginning to the end. And there is definitely somewhere halfway a lot of episodes where I'm like, okay, I've definitely not seen this one before. And a part of that is due to when I moved here originally back in 2009, we used to watch like Crime Monday. So on one of the local TV stations here, they used to have like CSI and Bones every Monday evening. And I used to watch this with my partner, like one episode every Monday. But they then moved it to another channel, which wasn't like our standard run in the background channel, let me put it like this. And we never really got moved with it. So somewhere halfway, a lot of it is missing, so to say. And now I've basically been watching it from start to the end. And I'm kind of happy I've done it because, you know, it does give a different twist to the story. Yeah, so there we are. so far. Stina, do a Shop My Stash advent calendar. I could do that. I kind of need to do a Shop My Stash advent calendar. Well, I could do that, but that is a lot of recording and a very little time. So I'm technically not sure if I would have time to do that. But I could do this is my project plan. Though Advent, so that's a challenge. I think of an Advent calendar as something you do the last 4 Sundays before Christmas, which means I need some for Sunday and then for following Sundays. But other classify Advent calendars more as this from 1 to 25 or 1 to 24 in the Scandinavian case, because we celebrate Christmas on the 24th. My idea was actually something with some stitch patterns, like some tutorial-like things, which I definitely do not have the time to do. I just have too little physical time. So that's gonna be for next year. I still think it's a good idea, but it's gonna be for next year, I think, if I'll end up doing it. So I have plenty of ideas. I just don't have the time to execute my ideas. Revenant says, thank you for mentioning advents. I almost forgot to get myself one. And Amanda says her advent is 24 packages from Rita and her mom, which is the classic Scandinavian advent. As I said, we celebrate Christmas on the 24th in the evening in Scandinavia. I told my boss that I will not have a replacement for me for Christmas Eve, and I'm definitely not going to be working Christmas Eve because, well, we'll just celebrate Christmas. I will literally not touch my computer. And I think he ended up just accepting and understanding. Which means that when I get back on Monday after Christmas, my goodness, there's a lot of work for me to be handled. So I may option to maybe peek in and do some work when I'm home, like in the weekend, just to have less work on the Monday. I grabbed the National Geographic gemstone one. The wife and I both collect mini precious gems. That's a nice idea. Maybe that is what I should get my partner. He would actually appreciate that too, I think. But at the same time, we just have too much in the home. I really should get, if anything, I should clean up stuff. But I am curious. You can get, these days, you can get calendars with all sorts of stuffs. But I really like this National Geographic one. That's an ideal. That's a nice one. With gemstones. It's not even that expensive, actually. 30 euros. But we are a little bit back to the does it make sense? Maybe for next year. We are not much home either in any case. I have no advent this year and I'm okay with that. If I wanted one, I would have gotten one. Yeah, I was thinking of the chocolate ones, right? You know, those with the small chocolate pieces you can get out from each state. And I didn't get one either because we always need to make catch up because we are going to be 6 days in Luxembourg this year, which basically means that is 6 days of not because we're not gonna make the hassle of bringing a calendar with us. It's just not gonna be working out. But I really like the idea of this. I'm a bit jealous on Amanda that she has such a great friend in Rita and that she has this Yanni advent calendar. It's not common that businesses shut down between. Is it not common that Christmas shut down between Christmas and New Year's there? It is to some extent, depends on what sort of business you do. My partner will have to work. Um, I don't know if his boss is on vacation, but in any case, because the companies they work with still continue, so if there are issues, he will need to be able to handle support. Um, he does software for flower logistics, and the trucks will still drive flowers around. Like they will keep growing in the greenhouses and so on. In my case, it's not a public holiday when I'm back after New Year's or after Christmas. So on the 29th is just a normal working day. And it will cost me days off if I want to take the day off, and I will have to have somebody to replace me even if I want to take the time off. And I didn't look into that. I'd rather have my days for something else because my partner's going to work regardless. So what does it matter if I work? And yes, my boss makes money regardless if it's a holiday or not because it's basic. I work with affiliate marketing, so I need to make sure the content is updated. Basically, in short. Amanda says, I don't think it's all yarn in mine this year. They have some surprises in the last one, but I feel one that is a cake. The shape was too obvious. Anissa says we bought a chocolate one for our grandson. It's his first one. Oh, I love the chocolate ones. Here's how the wildflower skirt is working up. The yarn is so pretty. Let's just quickly take a sneak peek. Oh my, yes, me want. That is gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I love this yarn. That's great colors. Yes, check. Where do I sign up? Here the only thing is open between Christmas and New Year's is the big box stores and gas stations. Yeah, here this is basically, so affiliate marketing is, so we basically handle deals for online stores, and with the Boxing Day kind of concept and people wanting to exchange stuff, and then you have the post Christmas sales coming and stuff like that, which is generally pretty busy work wise, I would assume. I don't know yet, but I'm assuming it's going to be busy. Um, yeah. And I just want to keep the boss happy because obviously I'd like my contract to be renewed. So my current work contract runs until November 30th next year. But I would like them to present me with, we would like to keep you indefinite, which means I have no worries about work. And that is what I'd like, ideally would achieve. Mini-Me has 5 advent calendars, one from Rita and her mom, one chocolate, one Lego, one with small books and crafty stuff, and one to open with the TV Advent Kids show where it was just like the photos you open in the morning, so you get like a hint about what the episode is about in the evening kind of concept, because that's kind of what I can relate to from when I was a child. Susan wants to know what yarn Revenant is using. I do believe it's a Red Heart something. Amanda says, that's a yarn color that somebody I won from Miss C Cottage. Yeah, I think indeed it is. It is gorgeous. I like it. A wildflower from Red Hat Super Saver Wildflower. There you go. No, 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 no. I need to make a front post here. Redo. I've been really good at doing the right stitches. And Lisa can understand. Thank you. Yeah, so ideally, so actually I said I was allowed to buy yarn if my contract got renewed for a year, which it has, but I haven't bought yarn. Been a good girl. Been shopping my stash. I could do some advents for, that's maybe not a too bad idea. Like, but that's not going to be a full advent though, but it could be like 3 or 4 episodes on things I'd like to get done in the new year, like plans, maybe? I don't know. Stina's plans for the coming years. The TV Advent is an episode in the morning and the same in the evening. Some have time before school to watch and some in the evening, but it's something to do with the episode in the calendar. Yes, exactly. It used to just be in the evening for us, but when I was little, it might have changed now because in that sense everything changes. It's not the same as when we were kids, right? But yeah, the concept I definitely remember. It's not the softest yarn, but Red Heart Super Saver lasts forever. We've had some blankets my grandmother made back in the 50s that was still perfectly fine, which is quite impressive when you think about it, right? For value acrylic. Reminds me, I have a project in some hobby amigo that I have planned. Um, also, I want to make another vest. So we found the shrug, which I found the pattern for. I need to check if that's anywhere compatible with one another. I think it will be. And then yeah, so I do have a few projects I can plan for. And we also need something to do on the live because, hey, what's happening when we are finished with this one? Hey, I did it again. Oops, I did it again. But I catch it and I frog the single stitch and then I go back to doing what I should be doing. So that could be an option. I could go through projects I'd like to make the coming year / this year. I could already kind of like stash that, right? That could work. Because the thing is, if I'm gonna stash my whole stash in Ravelry and make that a series, it's gonna turn into a 20. It's gonna take half a year. Like last time, it was a 25-week episode thing. It's half a year. That waffle shrub could be a fun stream project. Yes, it could be. And we also have. I have this vest I want to make. And I need to make the own buttons for it as well. But I'm making it in acrylic rather than wool, which is a drops pattern. So I'm going to make it in Amigo yarns instead. Let me see if I can actually find it. Da, 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 da. Free patterns. Actually, it's more like a vest. Boom. I guess. Sort of. Let's say it's crochet. Here it is. It's made in drops, snow, or charisma, or alternative could be merino. Let me pop over so you guys can see it. So I'm gonna make this vest, but in an acrylic, with a lighter background and a chunkier edge. And I think the Amigo yarns comes pretty close. If it's gonna work in reality, I don't know. So I'm gonna make this one. I just need to make 2 buttons, where I already prefabricated one like a year ago. So the yarns is also in my stash. So that is another project. Plus, we need to make a new big project, which is going to be the hat collector shawl. I just need to decide if I want to make it in Hobby Twister or if I want to make it in a Stanley Muffin. I know that Amanda made the hat collectors before, so maybe Amanda, you would give me insight. Would you suggest, because I want to make it both yarns. The question is which I should start with, and I think the Twister will require me to do a lot more color controlling, basically, because the color changes are shorter. And I'm having the big muffins for the big ones. But yeah, so the idea is to make this one as well, but in an acrylic rather than a wool. I think it could be nice, maybe also actually in wool, but I wasn't too keen on the edging. We have to be good and not influence you to get yarn, but patterns are perfectly fine for us to pressure you to get. Yes, because that helps using up the yarn that I really should be using up, right? So I totally agree. The hat collector I made with 3 times salt and Pastello, it took forever. Yeah, it's for when I'm finished with Fleur, which is going to be either in the end of this year or in the beginning of the new year. So I do have a month or 2 to decide. Then I want to start on a hat collector shawl, and either I'm going to make it in a Stanley Muffin, or I'm going to make it in Hobby Twister. It's just a question of, and I think if I make it in the muffin, I am likely to use a bigger needle, so it's going to be a bit larger in that sense. I deconstructed the cakes pre-starting it. Yeah, that's what I will need to do as well. I will need to recake all of them. I don't know if it's even possible to cake up or if I just need to roll them up. Did you cake them or did you just roll them up? I don't remember. Because it's going to be so small, I'm unsure what's easier, to cake them up or to roll them up. It's going to take time regardless. So it's going to be a long project. I caked it every color. Yeah, good plan. So you first cake one full color, then the next full color, etc. So to say, with every color change. And you cake them on the same cake, or did you make small cakes from each? Yeah, you cake them all up together. Yep. That's what I'm thinking. I need to use either 2 or 3 of the twisters. And the one I have in mind is a rub and cream, and then I have a darker red for the actual heart. And for the muffins, it's like an orange cake I have. And then I want to cut some out of a red cake I have for the heart. And it's going to take forever because it's going to be so big, which I'm fine with because, it's good to have a long project. This is why Fleur is laying just over there. waiting for me to finish it. So that is, I just need to make the decision if I'm gonna do the jingle bells. If I'm going to use the Stanley Platter yarn, or if I'm gonna do it opposite. So we are almost to the end, and then we're gonna weigh yarn, and then depending on what the yarn says, we will have to make a decision. A part of me feels that we are at the end though, but I don't know. There is not much yarn left, that is one thing for sure. And more importantly, we have had 2 rows of this sort of, oh, I did it again. Of this light. No, I didn't, because it wasn't, I needed 2 more stitches. This light pink. No, instead I did split the yarn. So let's just redo. For crying out loud. Focus. You sent a pic. Okay, give me a moment. Oh my goodness, it's not really playing nice with me. Da, da. Oh, we are loading. There we are. 2, 2, 2, 2. Here we have Amanda's split cake project, which is gorgeous and definitely lots of cakes. So this is obviously that the Sultan cakes, the starting and the ending color is a lot more than the color changes in between, because they're like double the size. So it's just like a proof. No, that would be the right direction. And here we have the finished project, which is gorgeous. Do you remember how big this is? Like, measured across? By any chance? The big ones are larger than the regular Sultan cakes. You didn't measure. Shame. Did you get so far that you were working on the large version? Because I know she has like 2 or 3 sizes of the pattern. Do you remember how far out you got? Shape-wise, it's somewhat similar to the Ultimate Sacrifice, and to some extent not at all. But I am looking forward to making this one for sure. Large, and I did more repeats, I think. Okay. So it's the 800-meter cakes from Sultan, right? So technically, I probably won't need all of mine then, if I'll end up go that direction. Because I have the regular twisters, so they're like gonna be 600 meters longer. Though the center heart is not that big. Until no more yarn. Yep. That's what I would do as well. Well, I may have a little left at the tips because I wouldn't want to play yarn chicken or something like that, but I'll like probably be vigorously measuring. Not sure if I used 3 or 4 cakes of salt and could be 4. Okay. I'll read through the pattern and make an estimate based on the pattern. And we just have 3 stitches left, which means, well, that was it. So now the real question comes, will I make another row? Revenant needs to go. Take care, Revenant. It was wonderful to see you. I should be back on Friday if everything goes right. That's a plan, at least for now. So Friday we will be streaming again. So I will hopefully see you on Friday. And if not, take care until I see you again. And Lisa's saying goodbye. Let's see. So how many grams do we have left of this very measly tiny cake? I think it's 4, maybe 5. 5. So it took me 8 to do what I just did. It's not like just 6, no. The multi-million-dollar question. Am I gonna do a row of single crochet? So I'm stopping here. That would be the very last row if I do single crochet row. I could. Oh, yeah, it is. Love the sea. Yeah, I know. I feel finished because if I'm not gonna make it through on those 5 grams and I'm gonna miss like this much and I have to frock, that's gonna be an hour work I just throw into the garbage bin, which I do not feel like. So I feel pretty finished, to be honest. Sorry. It's very little yarn and it's extremely thin. You can see that when I'm squeezing here. There is not a lot of yarn in this one. It's 5. Now it says 6. Ugh. 5. 5. I think it's 5 though. 5. Still says 5. That's, I don't know if it would look good. So I did change up the pattern last 2 rows. Let's see, I can't zoom. That's kind of like the sucky part here. I think we are, sort of. I am refreshing. I did have a temp fallout of my software. It decided to partially crash, but it looks like we are back. I just don't have a chat right now, so. Working on it. Be patient with me. So what I did change, hello Amanda, I see you waving, so I must have connection. And it looks like we're coming back, sort of. No. No. It keeps saying something went wrong. Wonderful. What I wanted to say, the only change I did is the last 2 rows. Normally here would just be double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1. I did back posts in the prior rows, front post double crochets to kind of extend this flow because I really thought it looked nice. And the next row I was supposed to do puff stitches on top of these, which I didn't because I didn't feel I had enough yarn to do puff stitches all the way around. and instead I extended again and did front posts into those double crochets. So I could probably work a single crochet row around and it would probably look okay, but my fear would genuinely be if if I would have enough yarn, and I would absolutely hate being short. Like, hate being short. That would be absolutely horrendous. I think it looks really nice like this, to be honest. So I feel I'm good and fine, if that makes sense. Lisa also says I'm good. Yeah, I feel good here. Like, ending it like this looks good. Because else the row would have looked more like this row. And I felt that didn't look right. Let's see if I can actually... That just didn't seem right to have these popcorns sitting here. So I decided not to do them. And I'm actually quite happy with... Also, if I look back here and I look on how this looks, I'm really happy with how that worked out. And I might even be inclined to do that in the future, replace all the popcorns and those stitches with these front post, back posts. I really like how this turned out. So there is that. Yeah, we are finished. I am gonna cut the yarn and I'm gonna make a knot and weave in ends. Hallelujah. End. I cut the yarn. Doesn't mean that it's the end, but it means that coming back means that I need to weave in ends, which I don't want to. Lisa says it's your shawl. End it how you want. I think we all know the feeling of being done with a project. I generally feel it's time to call it quits. And it's not so necessary. I think it would look nice with the single crochets around, but I would feel really horrible if I was missing 10 stitches and would need to frock the amount of work. And I'm like, maybe I would have enough yarn to actually do it, but it's gonna be edgy. It's on the edge to sketchy. And because it's on the edge to sketchy, I'm not in the mood to attempt to try it. So I decided not to try it. Instead, we'll weave in some ends. Because that is something I will need to do regardless. Reke says, I completely agree with you on that point. I've done that myself. Being short of yarn or not. Yeah, you know, the fear is genuinely the, if I'm short and I would have to frock it, I don't. It's gonna take me about an hour to do. Maybe I could do it in maybe in 40 minutes, but genuinely, still, it feels like a waste when it's not been conclusive, so to say. I don't want to have that feeling by any chance of means. Yeah, Reke has been here hanging around in the background. She was just busy with her son. He required some mothering love and attention. And we are... I just need to have the other end also woven in. And then, my friends, I just need to get around blocking this one, which is gonna be a project for, I don't know. That is gonna happen either tomorrow or next week, Tuesday maybe. I don't know. I just need to do it before next week, Friday. So it's going to be Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday. Okay, I did not get all the yarns here. I did not weave in the ends at the very beginning. I don't know why I didn't do that yet, but here we are doing it. And then we can, I can get up the chair or something like that and show you guys how amazing this looks. This, my friends, is dark matter. Do, 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 do. It remains pretty dark, to be honest. And I didn't have the feeling that I was in a dark spot, but according to this yarn, it is. Yeah, we have all missed Amanda, so it's good to see her around again. Amanda has been busy partying on a boat some of the time. At least she told me she was lucky to get one of these party boat tickets. Almost made me jealous. Do, 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 do. So that was it. My goodness, we are done. Our weather turned here. We actually have the start of winter. Oh, goodness. I've seen snow this week, as well in Denmark. I am sure that there are snow as well in Sweden. That Amanda probably also seen the first snowfall. Let's see, that's the backside. So what we are gonna do, we're gonna pop this pretty face back up. And let's just go to this one. I am a little bit on the dark edge. I can go lighter if you require it, but it may not be needed. I am gonna, what I should do is I want to make a new poncho actually. This is nice because It's long all the way around. It's not just pointy. It's more like squared. So I really like this, but it's kind of really wearing out. It's getting holes and stuff like that. So I'd like to get myself a new one. Anyhow, ta-ta! Isn't it gorgeous? Actually, probably this is better to get a bit of background on it. But I will, of course, block it and make photos and stuff like that so you can see it much better. Because right now it's not really popping pattern-wise. That said, I still think it's wider than my arm span. Yeah, that's tip to tip. And I can't really keep it completely straight. So it has a really nice and decent size. I'm pleased. I am definitely pleased. Happy me. Happy me. And it's going to be so much nicer when I get this blocked. Unfortunately, this poncho, though, is a purchase poncho. And I am wrapping myself up in a blanket to keep warm. So I could keep the like kind of raw design on this poncho. But I would need to do something else. Anyhow, I really like it. I'm super pleased, and it's definitely going to grow like 20% once blocked. We are finished. We did it. And I've only done like maybe 3 rows in total, not on stream. Like I've finished up 2 rows, and I did 2 rows worth out. So yeah, most of it has been done on a stream here since October, where you then can conclude how long it takes to make a shawl. Longer than I'd like to care for. But we are going to block this, and that is going to happen hopefully before next yarn talk for you. That's the plan. But it's not going to happen today because I will need to do the blocking on the floor in my bedroom. It's the biggest floor where I can the easiest crawl around on, and to get it all blocked in one go. And that is not very practical to have overnight because it will, I'm afraid somebody will step on it, or more likely step on the pins. So it needs to happen over day. So it's something I'm gonna do. Like I have to soak it in the morning and pin it up, and then remove the pins in the evening, something like that, or in the afternoon. And ideally on a day where there's good light, because also it can be a bit dark this time of the year. So yeah, I'll have to see how that goes. Lisa says mine grew 20 to 30% after the blocking. I can imagine this will definitely grow 20%. Yeah, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. So we have these 5 grams left, which I'm thinking I should wind up, because that is gonna keep better than not wind it up for whatever I end up using it for. It's small enough to, I don't know, 5 grams out of 250 grams on 1,000 meters. It's gonna be like, I don't know, 50 meter, not even, of grams of yarn, not even. So it's gonna work together as a scrap for something which is gonna be made of scraps. Lisa says it's acrylic. Why don't you just steam block it? It would dry a lot faster. I could do that too, actually. That's a good point. I did, though, find the other one this summer worked up really nicely when I did both wet and steam block it. I'll see what I'm in mood for on the day. I think it's because it feels like it stretches easier when it's wet. But maybe it's just because it's heavier, it feels like it stretches easier. I'm not really sure. Maybe I'm just crazy. Anyhow, this bit of yarn, not sure what that's gonna become, but it is entering my scrap pile. And as you know, it's acrylic, so I don't know. With some lyrics. Yeah, it probably does stretch easier when wet. Yeah, that's kind of why I like the wet part of it. And why I'm inclined to do that. I have to say, so far, this is a lot less tangly than when I, this summer, did it with an inside pull. For all means, I have less detangling now, which I really like. But it's just not always that the colors look nice pulled from outside. So it depends. So we have a few options, but we are going to look at yarn because I kind of promised partially that we're going to look at this merino yarns that I'm having laying here. It used to be hanged, and it's then since been winded up in cakes. I did not do that. Actually, my mom did that because she used it for a sweater. So I bought the yarns and she knit me a sweater, which is in my stash, in the sense of it's in my clothing stash. It's in my closet. Um, do, do, do. No, 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 no. You go there. You go there. I almost had a tangle here at the end, but it was only like a minor one. This, my friends, is the leftover. And I'm not sure if we could have done a full row of single crochets in this. Maybe. It's been a really close call. So I am positive how we ended it. I'm not in the mood to have tested if it would have, because while I do believe it would look nice, I would absolutely hate being short. So I played it safe. Yep, so that's left. That's gonna go in my stash. What I should do, especially if we're gonna look at my pretty face, I should probably go here. That looks a bit better, a bit less dark. Yeah, it's a pretty small ball, right? So just to compare it to the crochet hook, I wasn't 100% sold that I would make it around. I was, yeah, the shawl is too big compared to like, it's been a maybe. It with double crochets all the way around, definitely not. But yeah, now I have some yarns which is in a crinkly bag, and the reason for that is because it's actually ice yarns. And you can't barely see it here, but it's in a crinkly bag, so I'm gonna take it out. It is called a Baby Superwash Merino, which is actually a hand-dyed yarn or a hand-colored yarn. And as I said, my mom made me a sweater in it, so I have a sweater upstairs, which ideally I would just throw another 5-6 kilos and it would sit nicer on me. But it is Baby Superwash Merino print from ice. And it is 50-gram skeins, or was 50-gram hanks to 200 meters of yarn. They recommend 3mm needles. It's a fine 2-weight, 100% superwash merino wool. And this, my friends, is how it looks like. It's these sort of teal green colors. And honestly, I don't even think that the light really gives this yarn justice. But I've had the yarns and I do have these are 2 full hanks. So this is 100 grams caked up. And then there is this bit of leftover. And this is what I wanted to make that shawl from that Susan suggested us. The Simply Yet Effective cowl. I think it would be fitting. Not this one. I wanted to pick this one. Haha. Just had to find the right screen for you guys. So I wanted to make this cowl, right? In this gorgeous yarn. I think that will work up nicely. Don't you? Except the yarn doesn't really show as good as it would on the scan. But I think this would work up nicely for this pattern. A beautiful skein of yarn carries out something simple. The cowl is easy, blah, blah, blah. DK weight yarn. This is probably a little bit thinner than DK. But it should work. What you would do with a cowl is just to check once you've cast on the stitches if that would fit, and you can always do a few more stitches around in case. 2 sizes, adult, short and long, that's the circumference, the height is the same. So you can always make it longer if you want. I have 100 and, I don't know, you can weigh it actually. Why not? Why not? Because each of these are 50 grams and it is absolutely freaking gorgeous. Let's see if I can actually, maybe this one is better for it. Yeah, that's a little bit closer to it, but it's really like teal colored, natural colored. And it is quite soft actually. It's not scratchy. The only downside is when I've worn the sweater, it gets a little bit static, electric. That's the only downside of this yarn. The first cake is 52 grams. The second cake on top is 104, so 52 each. And the last leftover bit is a bit less than 20, so it's half a cake each. So 125 grams in total I have. I should be able to make the cowl, I think. So that's my idea. I don't know what to use this yarn for, and I was thinking 2 options. I was thinking I could see if I could attempt the Sophie scarf, or I could do this cowl, and I think I'm going to do this cowl on 3mm needles. Yay! I guess that's going to be the least fun part, because 3mm needles are going to be tiny. I don't think I've ever worked with 3mm needles, or yeah, maybe many years ago, but the smallest I have is 3.5 of these, so probably I'm going to do with the 3.5mm needles. I don't think that's 0.5 millimeter is going to make the difference. Do you? Downside is it's green. Or maybe it's an upside, I don't know. That's my smallest needles. Will probably work, I think. But goodness, they are tiny. That is tiny. Anyhow, that, my friends, is stay inside. That is my project that I'm gonna make that off, and yeah, I don't know if even if I would go darker, if that would be the right coloring. First I need to go lighter and then all dark. Yeah, maybe that's a bit closer actually. But yeah, it's kind of merled with various different shades of green, teal, blue. Yeah, I think the darker version is a bit closer to reality. I don't know if I can find them still on ice. It's not something they have anymore. So this yarn has been in my stash for 2 years, 3 years. Well, it's not been in my stash for 3 years because it's then been in Denmark for a bit to partially made into a sweater. And now I want to make a cowl of the rest. Now I'm gonna see if I can maybe find the order. Susan, it's more like a sport weight. It's less than DK weight. It's thinner than DK weight. So it's actually thinner than I thought it was. Susan has to get going. Bye, Susan. Take care. I'm just trying to find the yarn meanwhile. Here it is. Gotcha. Let's pop over to ice actually. Apparently it looks like they still have it. Haha. This is the yarn for those curious. And these colors are a little bit lighter than reality looking on screen, but it gets close. So this is actually how the skeins once looked. Absolutely gorgeous. It is a lay flat to dry. Green shades and blue slates, self-coloring. And I got 2 packs back then, so I had 8 of these skeins, and 5.5 turned into my sweater, the ones that my mom knit for me, which is still there. And they do have some other colors here, and I really like this beige brown version. I'm not saying that I'm gonna buy new yarn, but this is kind of nice too, actually. I'll be inclined to get some, but the thing is, ice is really expensive. So let's just say I want to get, let's get 2 because I want to make a new sweater. Let's go to the shopping cart for funsies. Including import fees and shipping and everything, it's gonna be 43 euros or $43 for these 8 skeins, which is not bad for 8 hanks, I guess, but it feels pricey. Let's see what it does in euro. It still feels pricey though. 38 euros. That's okay actually. It's not too bad, but still, it's like 6 euros a hank, including shipping. But yeah, so I wanted to make that for the simple yet effective, but they call for a DK weight, and this is a sport weight, so I don't know if it will work. Maybe. Four millimeters. Yeah, I think 4 millimeters will make it to that. That will be. I need smaller needle sizes. Da da da. It's also here in Ravelry, but still. Sweet Fiber Yarns Cashmere DK. It is pretty close though. This is a yarn it's originally knit in, and that is 50 grams to 183 meters, and this is 50 grams to 200 meters. So it gets pretty close. it gets pretty close. I feel it will work. Just make the large size. I'll have to check, but yeah, that could be an option too, to make the large size. In any case, I'll have to check length once it's all cast on and everything. But I feel it will work. I still think the sweater I have is pretty big, and it only took 5.5 skeins. So definitely looking forward to working with this yarn myself, not just sending it off to someone else. So that was my Christmas idea project. Or whatever else project, because it is gonna take time. And yeah. Then I have my other knit project currently, which is this box. And we have like 10 minutes left. And I'm in 10 minutes not gonna be bothered to attempt sitting with Fleur. And I don't have any other projects. This is what I have left of those 2 skeins. In real life, this is a much more clear red, a much nicer, brighter red. That I will have to say. But I should measure to see how far we still need to go on it. For a oh my goodness, we have an internet connection issue. My internet decided to crash on me. I do very much apologize. But we have internet again. No internet means that the stream crashed. But yeah, so not that much to say, except we are. I could pop it down a bit if you want to follow the knitting bit. Thank you. I didn't intend to leave you guys hanging like that, but the internet decided to crash. But yeah, so there's still a few rows of this to go. But I'm actually quite happy because we finished the LapsangTea Shawl today. And that was nice. I think we can most definitely consider this cake complete. Oh, yeah, now we're a bit bright again. I need to darken it down. This looks much closer to the reality yarn, not completely. It's still a little bit more red, but it's a nice red. So that's a plan for the yarns, or the yarns I had planned for that cowl. And it's not going to be too different. I'm going to use one size smaller than the pattern calls for, needle-wise. I think I should be fine. It is, though, going to be really, really small needles. But like, if I could cast that on before I drive home, I could knit in the car. Unless, of course, that I bring some of these scrap yarns with me, because in the end, I did knit on this in the car, and I did maybe like half of what's here. So I probably added like this in the car this weekend. And I only knitted on the way there because on the way back it was too dark to see anything. Then I need a neck lamp. And I'm not sure if I can actually practically knit with a neck lamp. Maybe I can. I've tried crocheting with one, but I actually don't have one. And I'm not necessarily sure it's a good thing for whoever's driving. Plus, I had to drive half of the way back as well. I'm more curious if I have enough yarn to actually finish this as a double brim rib knit beanie, but we'll see. It's not an issue if there isn't enough, because I do have a couple of more skeins of this yarn laying around. And what I did mention during the yarn talk video Friday is that this yarn, I want to wash it. It's not stiff, but it's also not super soft. So I am really inclined to see how much this will soften up when it gets washed. It feels okay, but it's not like it could be softer. And somebody was inclined to say that it's likely to soften up quite a bit. It is acrylic, but we'll see. For me, it's actually more about getting this yarn used and removed from my stash. And there is likely going to be somebody that will eventually be happy to receive it. So if it's safer, it softens up beautifully in the wash. Yeah, I could hope it's safer, but I don't know if it is. Because as I said, the yarn label doesn't really state what yarn it is. It's just a label to keep track of the yarn rather than a label to say what yarn it was. So yeah, once this is done, it's gonna go into the washing machine, which totally reminds me, I wanted to do something today. I wanted to have some stuff dried, but I forgot to put it into the dryer, which means I do have a wash ready to go into the dryer, but I had actually planned for it to do that earlier today, but I somehow lost track of it. No, it's what it is. It'll be fine. So I'm gonna complete this row. And then we'll put it away, and then it's time to say our goodbyes. So I'll be back Friday. And I need to figure out what we're gonna work on Friday. I don't know yet. Maybe we'll just be knitting. I have plenty of projects here to work on. Or maybe I'll actually attempt to do Fleur, because lately I've been able to watch series. Like, I do need to sit at a table, so I have been able to watch stuff on my computer while crocheting on it without making mistakes. So I could actually potentially do that Friday. I think I might do that. Friday, new project day. Oh, Friday is gonna be Fleur day. That could be, because I really want to finish Fleur this year, and it takes 2.5, 3 hours to make a row, and I still have 20 odd rows to go. And I do have quite a few days where I'm not home in December, so I may need to option to work on Fleur or see if that would actually work out. It's considered. Or it's new project, but then what project? I do have a few projects. As Revenant said, he thought it would be a great idea to work on that shrug, which I think it could be a really good project as well for the stream. It's red though. Anyhow, that could be my Black Friday gift to myself. Get this rug, get this rug. Oh my goodness, that was not the intention. That could be an option to get the pattern as a present for myself. Not too bad of an idea. And then we could work on that shrug, or try to. Don't know how the pattern is written. We'll have to see. I have time to think about that because there is today and Thursday, and then it's Friday, and I need to know it Thursday evening to kind of prep for Friday. But the end result is I'm going to see you guys on Friday for Friday's live, and I am live at the same time as now, which is from 2 p.m. Central European Time, or 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, 6 a.m. Mountain Time, 5 a.m. Oh my goodness, if you're all the way to the Pacific. But if you're up early and want to hang out and craft, feel free to come along. If you're in Europe, we are here European afternoon Friday. It's going to be Friday evening if you're all the way out Eastern in Asia, or why not. But I would really much look forward to hang out with you guys if you're back. If you watch the stream all the way from the beginning until now, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share and all. We'd like to get more yarny friends for our social time here on YouTube. So I'm going to say take care and happy crafting, and I will see you guys on Friday. Maybe with a new project. Bye.